let's go ahead and talk about what's going on with the Heritage Foundation. Because, yeah, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you want to look at it, they are actually losing some staff. Before we get into that, though, I do want to let you guys know real quick that we are trying to run a fundraiser right now for my friend Fleur. They are a regular on the channel in terms of the World of Warcraft stuff that I've done on stream, but their house just was burned down. So there should be a link in the description if you would like to help support them. I would be very much appreciative as well. Basically, all their possessions and everything have all gone up in flames. Legally, there's other details that I cannot divulge right now because there's an ongoing investigation, but as of the moment right now, this is about the most we're going to be able to do to help. I myself am donating my Nintendo Switch and various Magic the Gathering decks so that there will at least be entertainment over on that end. A couple friends of ours are putting together PC parts so we can build a new PC, various other things, but we are trying to help get them back on their feet in whatever ways we can. That said, to the actual news article today, this is Mike Pence, and he was the vice president of the United States alongside Donald Trump from 2016 to 2020. And, well, there's some information that needs to be talked about in regards to him and the Heritage Foundation. So Mike Pence is apparently quietly turning his post-vice presidential nonprofit into a refuge for conservatives who are breaking with the Heritage Foundation. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Heritage Foundation is the conservative think tank that is primarily responsible for the text of Project 2025, which was the presidential transitionary project that has caused so much of the fucked upness of the last year. Freedom says those whales should not be allowed to resign. They should be prosecuted. It's not that I don't agree. It's that I don't know what you would hit them with. But the Wall Street Journal reports that about 15 staffers are jumping ship to the Advancing American Freedom Advocacy Group, which was launched by Mike Pence in 2021. Those leaving include John McCallum, who ran Heritage's Legal and Judicial Center, and Economic Policy Director Richard Stern. The Heritage Foundation remains a powerful force on the right, but it's been beset by recent controversies, most notably leader Kevin Roberts' defense of Tucker Carlson's friendly interview with white supremacist Nick Fuentes, for which Roberts later apologized. Yeah. You know, Americans should not be super sympathetic towards Nazis, so, you know. Why these people are coming our way is that Heritage and some other voices and commenters have embraced big government populism and have been willing to tolerate anti-Semitism, Pence tells the Journal. He also faulted the think tank for backing tariffs, pulling support for Ukraine, flirting with isolationism, and sorting Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s health and human services shit that he's been doing. Basically making America not anywhere near as healthy, cutting funding for cancer research, cutting funding for vaccines, all kinds of shit has been absolutely fucked up in regards to that man and his brainworms. Heritage Foundation is apparently trying to downplay this exodus. They say Heritage has always welcomed debates, but alignment on mission and loyalty to the institution are non-negotiable. The Foundation's Andy Olivastro tells National Review in a statement, a handful of staff chose a different path, some through disruption, others through disloyalty. The split underscores a wider fight on the right as Republicans, beyond the end of Trump's turn in 2029, at conservative gatherings such as America Fest, figures like Pence and podcast host Ben Shapiro are openly arguing over foreign policy, economic populism, and the party's future leadership, while Trump-aligned politicians such as Vice President J.D. Vance draw enthusiastic crowds. So here's my worry in all this. My worry in all this is that at the end of the day, none of this will matter. So, like, on the left, we can sit here and say, hey, it's really cool that the conservatives are splitting over minutia, and that could be incredibly helpful for us later. But until some conservative makes a different party, until a conservative politician makes a different party, none of this matters. There being differences in the minutia of the way that Republicans want to run things doesn't actually affect anything on our end unless another party is created for them. Otherwise, they are just going to be voting on the exact same lines as every other time. Kazooie says Democrats are too weak to take advantage of a split. But that's the thing, though. What does a split even do here? Bravo needs bacon. Thank you for cheering 10 bits. What does a split even do here? Like, in the world where there's a split, in the world where Republicans have a split over ideology, all that means is that different Republican candidates are going to be primaried. And then we still end up having a Republican come out during the general election, and all the Republicans are going to do what they do every single time and get together and vote for the Republican who's coming into office. It happens every time. So, like, it's cool that the split's happening, and I appreciate the information, and I think that's going to be doing a decent bit of work in fracturing what Republicans' main talking points are. But when it comes down to brass tacks, they tend to vote on party lines, both when it comes to bills and when it comes to the general populace when the general election comes around. Kazooie says it's still a split, so if the Democrats had the backbone to do anything, maybe we could not be drifting towards fascism. So, like, I agree with that sentiment, Kazooie, but again, what would the Democrats do? What would the Democrats do to take advantage of that? Because outside of, like, making political campaigns focused around this split, I don't know what you would do. Paige says free healthcare. How would you get free healthcare out of this? Bravo Needs Bacon says they could do something. Right, but what is that something? So, like, here's my other concern. My other concern is that us on the left have this habit of wringing our hands constantly about this shit, but never actually figuring out how to implement any of it. A conservative split does not do anything for us unless the party splits. Because the ideologies of the Republican Party keep drifting further and further into fascism, all we actually change is the speed. All we change is the speed of that descent with whichever Republican we get. Like, if we were to get a non-big tech aligned old money billionaire as our representative for the Republican Party, then that wouldn't be as bad as what we have right now with Donald Trump. But unfortunately, every word that I just described, like every word I said, old money billionaire, that is also Donald Trump. Bravo says, when the Republicans were in the minority, they slowed or stopped everything the Democrats wanted to do. The Dems need to use that playbook or get primaried. See, understandable. So what would need to happen? I guess the best thing to do would be for some Democrats to find the Republicans that are more in favor of, like, Pence's version of republicanism and get them to help stall things and clog the machine. Like, is that what you're thinking of? Because that's about the best I could see them doing here. Freedom Inc. says, your rep is heavily hinting at creating a new America First party. Feels like she's splitting the bigots. Nobody's gonna fucking follow Marjorie Taylor Greene. Like, if even 1% of the current Republican Party move over to Marjorie Taylor Greene's party, it will be solely so that she can get some donos, and it will not materialize in anything. Paige says that's the other thing. Democrat leadership doesn't want to primary their own. So that's something I can agree with. I can definitely agree that as far as the Republican Party at large is concerned, the Democrats should be far more comfortable getting rid of their old blood, primarying their own when the old blood is bending the knee to money. But the problem is the party at large has been bought. Anselin says, first you need a good idea, then you need a plan to get there. Understandable, but the good idea hasn't come up yet. It's been, do something. Do something is not an idea. Do something is hand-rigging. Do something is the death rattle of hope. But it's not actually an idea in any material sense. Bravo says, Schumer, Jeffries, and Pelosi need to go. Isn't Pelosi already going? I feel like she's already going. Freedom Inc. says, even with the Epstein floundering. So with the Epstein floundering, to take advantage of that, you can get the Republicans that want to be seen better in the light of history, not as supporting child predators. And you can stonewall some bills that way. You can change the way that people generally see the Republican Party and move voters further to the left because their party is the one supporting pedophiles. That's an option as well, I guess. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out because, like, we've seen Republicans fracture over the divisiveness of Trump before, and the end result of it was a second Trump term after a Biden term. I feel like people's memories are so small, just in general, on all political sides. I feel like our memories are so short that we don't think about this shit. Tega says, do something. Is Trump saying we'll have a plan any 2 weeks now? Paige Walter says, banning child marriage at the federal level would be an easy win. Can you believe child marriage is still legal in several states? Yeah, that would be an easy dunk. That's a super easy dunk. And then being the Republican on record that has to say you were okay with child marriage? Yeah, with all the Epstein controversy, that's not exactly a great place to be. Not even in the slightest. Hey, you made it to the end. I want to give an extra thanks to the patrons who allow me to do this full time. I want to thank Aaron Rail, Astral, Britzkrieg, Jemshin, Poundini, Red Joker, Victoria, Jonas, Craig, Tarika, Fireshard, Smiling GM, John, Dren Hadamada, Creeper, Sagitta, you know I'm not saying that last part, Valis of Seraph, Ottoman Angel, Rooster Rachel, and Fire Panda, who are all my $20 and up patrons.